In this episode of the Omega Podcast, we have a digital transformation expert and Omega partner, Federico Katsicas, discussing digital transformation, power automation, and much more. Digitized for excellence.
Welcome to the Omega Expert Chat with Federico Katsicas. Today, we are recording from the beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina, to chat with Omega partner, DataFlip's CBO, Federico, who is responsible for the company's operations and growth. Federico, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, Keenan, for having me here and for the invitation.
Of course. We are living in a dynamic time that has been focused on evaluating the nuanced journey for small and medium companies toward digitalization, the obstacles and financial implications of mid-sized entities along the digitalization journey, their key challenges, and hopefully during our conversation, we can provide our listeners with new ideas about how to start their digitalization journey themselves. But first, let's discuss your purpose for launching DataFlip. Can you tell me more about your initial days?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have been working for many years in different multinationals. I have 20 years of international experience in the financial and insurance industry. And for many years, I was acting as an entrepreneur for these big companies. And I had a strong desire to do the same, but in a different business environment, more as an entrepreneur. Therefore, when I was in a transition between jobs, I thought that maybe this is the right time to make the big jump. And I talked with some friends that were already working in the IT service business, and we started to shape DataFlip, which is actually an IT service company where we provide technical advisory and hands-on services to small and mid-sized businesses to enable them to implement digital transformation by improving their cloud, BI, and automation strategies.
That's very interesting. Over 20 years of combined experience with you and your team at DataFlip. For over a decade, we have been pondering on the essence of digitalization. How would you define it?
Well, I think that's a tough cookie. I could say that it's the use of technology to change a business model and provide value producing opportunities. However, my guess is that there are several definitions of digitalization. From DataFlip standpoint, digitalization is related to the implementation of a platform or applications that will generate a quality leap in the company's efficiency. And on top of that, it will make employees' working lives much easier. That's the way we see it.
I would agree. The term is to leverage emerging technologies to improve operations and user experiences within the life cycle for sales and marketing. However, the components necessary for a successful digital transformation is unfeasible for SMEs. Why is it more challenging?
I think that there are several different reasons, I would say, that make the digital transformation challenging. First, you have the resources, right? I used to work, as I told you, in a multinational, and these type of companies very often have a lot of capital dedicated to innovation. Actually, they can have different departments addressing this, like such as the transformation department, operations, IT, and some others. While in smaller realities, it doesn't work that way. First of all, they count on fewer resources, so the resources available to face digital transformation are not that big, and that's a first challenge that they have. Then I would say you have something that's very common in all companies, which is human nature. Human beings are averse to changes. We're quite often uncomfortable in front of unknown situations, and technology is no exception. Therefore, most of us are reluctant to leave our comfort zone, and we try not to apply new things, new technologies, and so forth. Uh, and in addition, employees feel sometimes threatened by technology. I remember once working for a Spanish bank, we were analyzing how to automate the process, and we were working with some SMEs, subject matter experts. And when we started to quantify the quantity of FTEs wasted, the degree of cooperation started to drop because they felt, or they thought that we will get rid of many employees. So human nature, I would say that it's another element that it's relevant. And lastly, I would say that you have skills. To have the right skills, or the right sets of skills available in the company, it's another thing very important. Many times you don't have in the company the skills required to identify the opportunities to change, what we call the change agent, which is the person that is pushing to set up a new reality. And if you don't have that, it's tough to take or to make the step forward towards digitalization. Usually, small companies don't have focus group or resources dedicated to fostering changes within the organization. And to make the long story short, very often the changes in small and medium companies come from external stimulus, such as a competitor applying a new technology or doing something that could impact in the market that they are sharing, right? And I would say, if I have to summarize, these three elements are key: resources, our human nature, and the skills available.
Right. The ongoing competition can swiftly change the momentum and prioritization of customer-centered digital solutions and the experiences. But we both know that the necessary skills required can cost management millions of dollars to install and resource their workforce for the future. But I do investigate the alternatives to overcoming these challenges. What particular ways would or should SMEs overcome these roadblocks?
Well, there is no golden rule to overcome that roadblock or those roadblocks. It could be overcome because the top management fostered change, the top management implemented changes in a coercive way. There is an investment to apply a change management training. However, I think that the best way to do it is through citizen developers, people that are not tech-savvy resources, but that are curious enough to apply user-friendly tools that might develop solutions to avoid doing highly repetitive tasks. By the way, a citizen developer is an individual who learns a visual drag and drop interface system in order to connect components in a meaningful way to create application without writing any code. It's someone that it's not an IT engineer. It's someone like us that is learning to use a tool in the way you learn to use PowerPoint or Excel or so forth. It's that easy.
Yes,
So
that's
that
very,
could be a solution. Sorry.
no, that's very unique. The recent development of AI-based solutions have been an increasingly known term in the business world, especially with the adoption of artificial intelligence integrations and development sequences. With the release of the AI chatbot system that was released by OpenAI in November of 2022, it is an AI tool that has the capability of answering your queries in a conversational tone and a manner similar to the way human beings communicate. With these tools becoming more readily available, are leaders reluctant to implement digitization?
Uh, I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. My guess is no, because those tools are making the implementation of a digital transformation easier. Just to give you an example, nowadays you have with Microsoft Copilot, and to create a chatbot, you can use Copilot just uh, speaking or letting him know or it know actually what you want. Copilot could create a chatbot and you don't have to write anything. So I think that this tool will make the implementation of a digital strategy much easier. That's my guess. But I think that as we were talking before, the key roadblock would be the human nature and the cultural things that you have in a company. Uh, it's very common to find companies locked in a given tech situation without the willingness to change. Usually changes are afforded due to, as I said, as to external company factors, such as a competitor being more efficient by applying new technologies and so forth. Or could be that the company should reduce the working capital growth rate and they have to find tech ways to achieve that. So to be honest, I think that the ChatGPT or AI technologies are going to help to implement digital strategies, and the roadblock will be still the cultural or the culture of the company.
You raise an important point. Companies are reducing their working capital, payroll to allocate funds into other areas of the business. How can CTOs, CXOs avoid having employees being reluctant to these types of technological changes?
Well, to do that, you have to find few people that are comfort within the company, right? That are comfortable with changes, what Nicolas Taleb will define as anti-fragile people, people that like the change. If you have some of those in your company, you should assign the role of champion, because it is highly probable that will help the company to settle down the new tech standards. Um, Most of us probably, when we talk about changes or digital transformation, we have in our minds an 18th century industrial revolution image, a machine doing what a human being was doing before, right? However, nowadays automation is more than that. It's quite different. I think that this time the same technology that is allowing us to avoid empty repetitive tasks is also giving us the opportunity to perform more qualified tasks, right? Just to give you an example, while a bot is answering a question to employees, we could be developing an analytical model in Power BI. So showing employees and people on your team that now they are a part of this change, and that they have user-friendly tools called low-code or no-code development application, and letting them know that they could be part of this change by becoming citizen developers, as we said before, that could help a lot.
We hope that you are enjoying this episode of the Omega Podcast. Please be sure to leave a comment. Let's jump right back into this digitized executive conversation.
Exactly. Citizen-led automation must be an integral part of developing these applications, especially as we begin to tackle the implicit bias these tools may exhibit. But are these tools a new way of working more effectively for the company operations?
Well, my opinion is yes, because you don't need shadow developers. Citizen developers allow staff to do some fun and creative things to improve their own work without waiting on IT. It's better for everyone and enables IT to focus on more complex and challenges that require advanced development skills, right? Before you had this a user requesting something to IT, and you have a developer from the IT department doing that, and you had bottlenecks and waiting lists and so forth. Now, by applying a digital strategy and applying or using platforms like Power Platform, you can avoid that, and you can work in a more agile way.
Absolutely. Are these low-code softwares that you had mentioned earlier, the development of applications, tools that allow IT developers and system developers to build both simple and complex applications? Would this be difficult to obtain for SMEs, mid-sized corporations?
No, not really. Power Platform is a Microsoft platform, just to give you an example, right? It's a Microsoft platform that, among other things, facilitate companies to digitize their operation through components such as digital agents, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and some others that came out recently, such as Power Pages. And as I told you before, you have a new feature now called Copilot that could help to develop application through these components. Actually, a few weeks ago, I was talking with a colleague about Power Platform, and he was saying to me, Power Platform is not as used as it should be used, given the potential that it has, right? And the reality is that 15 years ago, I never could imagine that tools such as Power Platform will be available for mid-size entities and at an affordable price. So these tools allow companies to automate process, to develop bots, and to use AI. And 10 years ago, that could be just a dream for small companies.
Absolutely. The integration of virtual agents such as chatbots and virtual assistants can enhance CX by automating routine tasks, as you already mentioned, both internally and externally, improving customer service and providing personalized experiences. By leveraging the power of AI, businesses can improve customer and employee satisfaction and reduce costs. Can you provide some examples of the power of virtual automation?
Yeah, just first of all, sometimes it looks like when we talk about automation, we should talk about Power Automate or Blue Prism and so forth. Just to give you a different example, I would say that when we use a Power Virtual Agent, if we keep talking about the Power Platform, right? If we talk about Power Virtual Agent, that could be an example. A virtual agent is what we commonly know as a chatbot. You can use it in many different cases. You can have the situation where the employees ask the HR department about the tax form or have questions related to pending vacations. And you can easily develop a chatbot with Power Virtual Agents and give feedback in an automatic way to the employees. So you can use this to facilitate feedback to your employees while you're doing something else. Another example could be the use actually of Power Automate, which is a Power Platform component that allows you to send out emails on a scheduled basis with a given information. This could be very handy in many other scenarios. For example, sending employees a list of their last week timesheet, sending invoice information to clients, or sending reminders to employees to submit their expense reports. These are a couple of examples that I can mention, but I mean, you can have many more. And with this type of solution, we can track the process and identify bottlenecks where you have a pending action. And as time goes by, you can make it more sophisticated based on the needs of the users or the company. So keep in mind that automation, it's not only to use a given technology, but many times is the combination of different technologies such as Power Agents, Power Automate, SharePoint, and so forth.
As you previously mentioned, the use of Power Automate, virtual agents, and AI tools is an initial starting point for improving these efficiencies within the business. Is it safe to say that if a company is using these components, it is the start to digitizing their operations?
Yeah, I would say yes. To answer that, we should go back to our original definition about digitalization, right? Where we said that digitalization is the use of technology that generates opportunities that add value. So then we should ask ourselves, are tools such as Power Virtual Agents adding value with the use of tech? Is the AI module that Power Platform has adding value, or is adding value while I am classifying documents and so forth? So if the answers of those questions are yes, for sure we can say that the answer of your question is yes, of course.
Awesome. How should SMEs start adopting these technologies? What would be like the first initial step?
Well, a good starting point to get familiar with the platform is to use it, right? There is a popular saying that states, what I hear, I forget, what I see, I remember, but what I do, I understand. This is just reinforces the idea that learning by doing is one of the best ways to metabolize knowledge. We think that a good way to get traction when you start this is to have training events, define champions that could spread the knowledge all over the organization, and try to use the technology as much as possible. That's a very good starting point.
Absolutely. Training, workshops, being able to share those resources and human capital around the organization is definitely some fantastic ways to get the information to those right individuals. With the use of all of these incredible resources at our fingertips, executives still need to measure the investment into these technologies and that it will provide a guaranteed ROI or PVP. How should executives precisely measure that the adoptions of these tools will be successful?
It is difficult to find KPIs, but I know that we live in a world where we want to measure everything. But being said that, I would say that there are a couple of elements that you have to take into account in order to understand if a digital implementation was successful. And the first thing is availability. When we talk about availability, what we are trying to say is that to leave tools such as chatbots, apps, automated processes available is a necessary condition to make adoption successful. Otherwise, you won't have anything to improve your skills, or employees and people in the company won't have everything to improve their skills. Another thing that it's important is the efficiency. And here, what it's key is to understand what efficiency means in an implementation. In terms of efficiency, what we used to say is that adoption is not necessarily measured by the quantity of people using the technology, but rather by the quantity of time that the team saved by avoiding repetitive and empty tasks. And this is important, right? Because many times you have many people using a given technology, but the process ends up not being that efficient. So keep in mind that efficiency is measured based on the quantity of time that the team is saving by using these new digital technologies. And then you have know-how. And regarding know-how, we think that the persistence and growth of the tech, such as Power Platform, is another way to understand if the adoption is successful, right? At the very beginning, probably the team is going to feel that is wasting time and that they are working slower and so forth because they don't have enough knowledge to use these tools. But the important thing is to learn that and to mature that knowledge. And as time goes by, that knowledge will reflect in the results of your work. You're gonna be working or focus on more qualified work, and all the tasks that were empty and repetitive are gonna be done by these tools. So one thing that I like to stress is that it's very important to get persistence in your company with the knowledge that you develop, because if you develop a know-how very fast but it goes away right away, and it's not gonna help to make an implementation successful. So know-how is very important as well.
Well, thank you, Federico, for the insight you shared and for being on the Omega Expert Chat.